What's up everyone, it's your girl Jay and welcome to Daily Dose, a show where we talk about the hottest topics in K-pop. Where today,
G-Dragon, feature Missy rapping, and I'm snapping and I get it cracking when I'm in the booth, I'm blacking. Y'all just yapping, we just laughing. I got hits like a tennis racket.
So let's jump right into the first topic, with BTS making history by speaking at the 73rd UN General Assembly in NYC. The meeting was specifically centered around youth and the launch of a new global youth initiative, Generation Unlimited. BTS leader RM, or Kim Namjoon, delivered a 6-minute speech in front of numerous world leaders where he talked about his own personal struggles and encouraged youth around the world to speak yourself, or speak about what's important to you and who you are. So I would like to just personally say, June, he did that. He did it! I mean, it's just crazy to think about all the pressure surrounding this speech. I mean, you're in this room full of world leaders. I'm pretty sure he only had a few days to put this speech together because we only learned about it a few days ago. He's speaking, a language that's not his first language, but he delivered it so well and was like so eloquent with his words. Like, you could tell he was a lyricist because every single word was just so poetic, and the way he weaved the stories into the speech was so perfect. And there were a lot of highlights and quotes and things like that were super powerful throughout the speech, but I think my favorite part was the part where he just is like, what is your name? What makes you heartbeat? Because that hit right here. Is this where my heart is? Right here. And just the overall story where he makes a callback to previous lyrics about his heart stopping when he was 9 years old and him kind of losing himself and kind of having to refine himself. I feel like that's just such an important and powerful message that relates to youth so much. But rather than me talking about it, because I can't do it justice, I suggest you go and just watch the full speech for yourself and check out the other speeches from the event as well. So I'll make sure to have links to that down below. So while that was spectacular, there was also a bit of a situation with activist and YouTuber Lily Singh, who was also present and spoke at the event. So she actually spoke after BTS, and during her segment she gave a little shout out to them and followed it up by the statement, millions of girls are crying at home.
First, let me say what an honor it is to speak here. I truly don't know who I convinced I'm important enough to do this, but too late, I'm here and I'm not leaving. But we have a lot of really exciting things happening. Shout outs to BTS, who millions of girls at home right now are crying.
Which led to some frustrations from some members of BTS's fandom. So to explain the issue, I'm gonna have to take a step back from the story a bit. So ever since BTS started blowing up mainstream-wise in the West, there's always been this tendency for Western media, when talking about them, to paint their fandom as crazy fangirls. Now, to be fair, this is a typical stereotype with most boy bands. If it's a boy band, their fandom or their popularity is stemmed from crazy fangirls. And BTS aside, there's always kind of been this stigma about things that happen to be liked by a lot of teenage girls and about those same teenage girls who stan it. You'll always hear words being used like crazy, obsessed, the assumption that as long as it has a cute boy in it, teenage girls will flock to it. Just this overall idea that the connection that these teenage girls have with this thing is most likely superficial or hormonal, so whatever it is, should be taken as a joke. So often, and I actually see this among K-pop fans too, when you want to kind of degrade or insult a boy group, you'll often hear people mention their teenage girl fans. And the way I see it, it's kind of like this idea that, if only teenage girls, young teenage girls are standing you, well, teenage girls will stand anything with a cute boy, or teenage girls are just, over obsessed and over emotional. So if your fandom only consists of these teenage girls, then you must not have any real substance. So back to the story, when Lily made the remark of, girls crying at home, after June made this, really deep and intricate speech addressing all youth, for a lot of ARMY, it once again evoked that idea that people are trying to downplay them or, aren't taking them seriously. Not to mention, it kind of discounted the fact that they have all types of fans, male, female, non-binary, old, young. And for me, like, I obviously get it. I mean, as a once, I get so frustrated when everyone always tries to paint Twice's fandom as old men who only like them because they're hot. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and act like there's 100% nobody like that in their fan base, but it's very obvious when people point that out or try to bring that up, it's to undermine their popularity or use as an insult towards them, and also disregards the thousands of women and girls like me who love their music, love their personalities, love them for a multitude of reasons. Also, just an added thing, because this whole situation's it's really hard for me to like express myself and all my ideas like perfectly when I talk about this, but like there's nothing with having your fan base full of teenagers or teenage girls. I think it's the problem that people assume that teenage girls are incapable of thinking and things like that, or superficial or artificial and things like that, which just creates the whole problem, because then there's a stereotype. So there's nothing, if somebody's fan base is full of teenage girls, there's nothing wrong with that. So the overall idea is that people need to stop like portraying that, I guess, and stop acting like everything that's liked by teenage girls is trash. I don't even know if that made sense, but I just wanted to add it in because like there's nothing wrong with having a fan base full of teenage girls. And I don't know if I expressed that properly. Okay, back to the video. Now, as for Lily, I obviously don't think her intentions are bad. I mean, that statement is just something we're used to. Like, boy band, crazy fangirls make joke about crazy fangirls. I mean, it happens a bunch of times. And I don't even think she meant it like negatively or to insult them, because she's a BTS fan too. But I also think it's 100% appropriate for somebody, if they want to point out that they had an issue with that comment, and I can understand people's frustration. But overall, I don't think people should let that, you know, some people were saying, you know, it ruined the whole entire speech and undermined the whole entire speech. I don't feel it took anything away from June's message, and I still think that this was like, you know, an awesome event and an awesome opportunity for BTS. And I think that, you know, Lily is an awesome activist, and I think she overall did a good job as well. Moving on. So next up, we got some IZ*ONE news, y'all, my faves. So IZ*ONE, the group that was formed during this year's Produce 48 competition, has finally got a debut date, and they're set to debut October 29th. Now, aside from that, we finally got an official statement about whether the IZ*ONE contract would be exclusive or not, and for how long it would be. So it's officially been reported that IZ*ONE members Sakura, Hitomi, and Nako will participate in AKB48's 45th single, No Way Man. And this single will be their last AKB48 activity until April of 2021. As it's been announced that IZ*ONE's promotion will be under exclusive contract for all of the 2 years and 6 months that they'll be promoting. So a lot of people were shocked, because even though nothing was set in stone or decided at the conclusion of Produce 48, a lot of people assumed that at most the exclusivity of the contract would be for about 1.5 years of the total 2.5 years. Now, a lot of people were super happy about this, because this means that the Japanese members won't have to fly back and forth between Korea and Japan trying to satisfy their IZ*ONE promotions along with their AKB48 promotions, which is really good for their health. But others were worried about what this means for their careers in Japan and within the AKB48 system. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm an expert when it comes to AKB48 and all the sister groups and things like that, but during my time on the show, I did, you know, learn about and get to interact with hardcore, longtime AKB48 system fans. And from that, I basically learned that it's apparently kind of hard to keep your fans, or WOTAs as they call them, within the AKB48 system if you're not actively and constantly putting out content and doing like handshake events, or, you know, leave the AKB48 system. The AKB48 system kind of has this tagline, the idols you can meet. So if you aren't there interacting with your fans, they basically will move on to other idols that do give that kind of fan interaction with them. People often talk about how there were, you know, a lot of members who were huge when they were in AKB48, but as soon as they graduated and moved on to solo careers, they basically like lost half their fan base, because there's a lot of loyalty to like the brand name of AKB48. So many people are afraid that with Nako, Sakura, and Hitomi not being able to participate participate in anything AKB48 related until 2021, the same thing is going to happen to them. They're going to lose all their fans. And once again, from what I read, it seems like many feel that Nako has the most to lose from this. Prior to Produce 48, Hitomi wasn't really that popular within AKB48, and with Sakura, while she was mega popular, she was basically at that point where she's accomplished everything she could accomplish within AKB48 and, you know, her sister group HKT, and she was ready to move on to bigger things or different things. But with Nako, she was basically on that path where she was gaining popularity. She ranked 9th in the general election, and people were, you know, seeing that she was up and up, so this might actually halt some of that growing, budding popularity she was experiencing. But there was also others saying that, you know, Sakura has a lot to lose too, because she was getting into like the peak point of her idol career where she would be making the most, and this could put a dent in that. But while people are very worried about, you know, what will happen to their careers after Aewen, I feel like people are forgetting that we still don't know what's going to happen when they promote with Aewen. I mean, for all we know, Aewen could be huge, and Sakura, for example, gains this global fan base. So when she goes back to HKT, she just, you know, graduates and becomes this huge global solo artist. I'm just thinking about all the fans and the fan sites she gained just being on the show alone. Or just in general, during their time in Aewen, they gain, you know, new fans that replace the old ones that choose to leave. And I see a lot of people pointing out there's no guarantee that the new K-pop fans they pick up by promoting with Aewen will be loyal and follow them after Aewen to Japan or whatever they choose to do with their career. But in that case, what's the difference between them and WOTAs who might drop them during this AKB48 activity hiatus, or might drop them after they graduate from the AKB48 system? Either way, I think the best hope for these girls, now that we know 100% that they're going to exclusively be doing iZone promotions, is hope that iZone hits it big so they never feel any type of regret. So good luck to everyone. I'm so excited for Aewen's debut and what concept they're gonna go with. Moving on. So last but not least is a follow-up to the Somi story I talked about last episode. It was announced that Somi, who left her former company, JYP Entertainment, last month, will be joining the YG sub-label, the Black Label. Where we left off there is everyone wanted to know whether she's signed as a soloist or she's signed to participate in the reality show for the formation of the upcoming YG girl group that's set to air in 2018. And it looks like we got our answer, because it was reported that they have indeed signed Somi as a solo artist. This stirred pandemonium because a lot of people feel like she's the type that, you know, was meant to be in a girl group. They feel like she might shine better as a center of a girl group than a soloist, because honestly, being a soloist is very, very hard. I don't know, even when there's a situation where there's like one really, really popular member, it's hard to say 100% that if they had started solo and not in a group, they would be as popular as they were, because there's just an appeal of, you know, a girl group, like this mass appeal of a girl group that being a solo singer sometimes just doesn't have. Now, I think the biggest criticism and the biggest doubt for her solo career comes from her voice. I've been reading a lot of people feel as though her voice is very childish sounding, it's nasally, and I would say that I'm half-half on the benchmark. She does have a nasal to her voice, but, you know, watching her sing in different things, especially on like Slam Dunk Unis, you can see that she's improving. I definitely think she's been improving since Produce 101. And if we're trying to, can we be honest? There's some soloists that aren't the best singers who are still successful. I'ma just put that out there, all right? I'm not saying they don't deserve success, but there's some solos that aren't like Beyonce level who out here thriving. So let's just be honest. And I think as long as she has fans and people that like her, and as long as, number one, she has bops, because I also already think she has the stage presence, and like stage presence is very important, but you, at the end of the day, you gotta have bops. Like, that's it. Like, bops will get you success. So as long as, you know, Teddy handles her music right and does songs that, you know, fit her voice, and she gets moves, you know, dances that help her shine, that are catchy, I think she'll pretty much be fine. But of course, guys, that's my opinion. As always, I want to know yours. What do you think as Somi going solo? I mean, if you think about it, Chang'e is doing really well as a soloist, so maybe it's a situation where she can follow in her past IOI member footsteps as a successful solo. Are you one of those people who think that Somi would be better off in a girl group? What do you think about the fact that the BTS UN contracts are exclusive? Do you think it's unfair to the Japanese members who have careers to maintain in Japan and AKB48? Or do you think it's the best decision for their health and the best way to make sure that the group is together for all their promotions? Lastly, what did you think of RM's UN speech? What was your favorite part? And how do you feel about the comment that Lily made? Did you find it offensive? Did you think it was poor taste? Do you think people are overreacting? Make sure to tell me down below. And as always, guys, if you like the video, make sure to like the video. If you love the video, make sure to share the video. That's it for today, and see you next time on Daily Doge.